How's it going, guys? It's your boy JoJo's Whips back with another video. And on today's video, I'm going to be listing off the 5 things I hate about my Tesla Model S Plaid. And we're going to get right into it. So the first thing first is the paint quality. I don't know if you guys could really tell too much, but on the front bumper there is quite some chips. It is also a little bit dirty because I was just driving the car. But you see there's a couple here. There's a couple little miscellaneous ones on the hood as well. You got another one here. There's one back here on the trunk. I'll show you guys as well right here. It's somewhere back here. But yeah, there's just a lot of little miscellaneous ones, and especially right here. Although with having these custom wheels with the flush offset, it's gonna obviously make more rock chips come. But even prior to having these wheels, even with the factory wheels, I had a lot of these that were, I know most of these were actually already here. Although, there's a couple of them that weren't here before, but as far as paint quality goes, this paint quality isn't the best on these. And I've actually heard from a couple detailers polishing them and stuff, they're not the greatest to polish, especially being black. But obviously there's people out there that could work on them. But I spoke to a couple people and they were like, Teslas are very hard because, paint isn't the best on them. And then also another thing is the body alignment. Although I can't really complain about it too much. It's not that bad. So you see this panel's honestly pretty good. Right here, there's a little bit of misalignment. So you see it goes here and it jumps up to there, as you guys could tell. But I've seen plenty of new cars, even at BMW dealerships, brand new Audi dealerships, Mercedes, Chevy. Here we got a little bit of a misalignment, but that's just how things are. You can't really complain about body alignment too much, although when you are spending a lot of money on a car, although I did get a good deal on this since it is used, but if I was paying, a new price tag on one of these, especially when they were at their peak of like 150,000, I would have definitely had that addressed by the dealer. And, because maybe they could probably just throw some shims in there or something, get it, get the lines fixed up a little bit. But besides for that, so that's my first thing. And then the next thing is charge times and wait times. So, obviously when you're getting into an electric car in today's day and age, you're obviously gonna have to wait a little bit longer than it would be to pump some gas. Typically on the long end of pumping gas, if you're at a slow pump, it might take, maybe 5 to 10 minutes maybe, and then with a fast pump you'll be done pretty quick. But obviously with these cars, typically it'll take about 20 to 25 minutes, and depending if you are going a little bit further, it might take about 30 to 40 minutes. And then also depending on what charging location you're at, there's some Tesla superchargers that are 150 kilowatts, and then there's others that are 250 kilowatts. And typically at the 150 kilowatt ones, it takes about 40 to 45 minutes, and then the 250 kilowatts take about 20 to 25, maybe 30, but most of the time it's about 20 to 25 minutes. But that's not really the biggest issue. The biggest issue with the charging is the wait times. Is that sometimes when you go to charge your car, there'll be a wait to charge your car, and then who knows, you might have 1, 2, maybe 3 cars ahead of you. And honestly, that's honestly a thing that kind of sucks. I've cut it close a couple of times where I had like 3 or 4% because, I kind of kept pushing it. And then, then when it came time to charge, and then, I was kind of worried. And it was actually kind of funny because today when I was at the chargers, I actually saw a Tesla getting towed on a tow truck. I'll input the clip. As you guys could see there, that guy, he ran out of battery, so he had to get a tow truck to bring him over to the charger. Although, that's not necessarily anything with the wait times, but, that is another thing you have to consider is if, you run out of battery, you just can't have somebody simply go bring you some gas, or have a tow truck bring you some gas, or have AAA and whatnot have come and help you. So that's another thing, is just the charging times, and then also the wait times for charging. You could have 1 car ahead of you, you could have 5 cars ahead of you. But the good thing is, I will say, is that on the Tesla screen, that here, I'll show you guys, when you go do that, when you go to the charger, that it will actually show you on here. Let's see if it'll do it. So for example, as you can see it, you have 7 stalls available, but if there's a wait time, there will kind of be like a little clock right here. And then you won't really know how many people are actually ahead of you until you get there. But it is cool. That's one thing I will say about, these cars, is that they're very informative on when, on if there's, spaces available. Although there has been times where it said that there was like 3 spots available, and then I get there and then they're all packed. But yeah, so now we're gonna move on to number 3, and that is the range. And what I mean by the range is, obviously when you charge the battery up, it'll give you a figure on the dash. You could either have it say percentage or, the mileage, which I typically leave it on percentage, because you'll have it on the mileage and it'll say on a full charge 343 miles. But in reality, if you go 5 miles, it'll really deduct like 10 miles off of it. So I typically just leave it on percentage, but even prior to me having the rims, the rims do affect range a little bit, but even on the factory rims, it was the same thing. That's why honestly, when, I heard people saying, honestly, these rims actually don't really kill the range very much. Honestly, it might be pretty similar to stock, and I'm not very sure. I know these rims are lighter than the stock wheels, but I did notice though that it depends. There's times where it feels like it's the same, and there's other times where I feel like it did drain a little bit quicker. But yeah, that's just the biggest thing with this car. One of the biggest things is the range. You'll have 50%, and then for example, taking my son to school is a great example. His school is about maybe 30 minutes from me. So from here to there, it takes 10%, and then it takes another 10% to get back. So then, then I have to go pick him up later on in the day. So then typically every day it takes about 40 to 50% to, pick my son up from school and then bring him home and then pick him up and then, drop him off. You guys get it. So it takes about 40 to 50% a day just traveling back and forth, not even including other stops. Like if I have to go to work or if I have to go to Publix. So, typically with a gas car, you would probably have, a little bit of gas even lasting you to the next day or even the following day, but the other thing you always have to remember too is that, this is basically 1,000 horsepower car with over 1,000 foot-pound of torque. So, it goes hand in hand, when you kind of put that in perspective, because if you compare a car with, a car that, a gas car that has 1,000 horsepower with 1,000 foot-pound of torque, you'd probably be getting about the same mileage or even worse, well, probably even worse than this. But yeah, that's just another one of my biggest things is that, I wish it'd be more accurate, there's times I even baby it, I don't always, I'm not always on the gas on this car, especially when I have the kids in the car, and it still drains. And then, so that's number 3. So then now we're going to move on to number 4, which is the Tesla card. And the Tesla card honestly isn't that bad, but it is kind of bad at the same time, because I've had issues where the car wouldn't unlock with it. And it works for most of the time, but there's quite a bit of times where it's raining outside when I had first had the car and I didn't have the app set up yet. And if you guys don't know, this is actually the car key that comes with the car. So you would essentially just walk up to the car, but give me 1 second because I have the other key in my pocket. So essentially you would just walk up to the car, and then it shows you right here on how to use it. The car is locked right now, but it's most likely gonna work right now. But you kind of gotta just put it there, and then it'll unlock the car, as you guys could hear and see. And then you could just tap it there again to lock it, which there's plenty of times it works, and then there's a lot of times where we have to sit there and really just kind of put it all around the place and then kind of hold it. And then so yeah, this is one of the other complaints. But obviously if you have one of these cars, Model 3, Y, S, X, you should honestly just have the app, because the app is honestly pretty flawless from what I've been dealing with the app. And then if you don't really like using your phone, then there's actually also a car key, which it looks kind of like the car, and then it even says under here Model S, which with this you just click it once to lock it and then double click for that. And then what's actually pretty cool is it's just like how the car is. So if you hold the trunk area, you'll pop the trunk. Oh wait, that was the charger. I think you have to double click for the trunk. Yeah, so that's the trunk right there. And then I think for the front, you do this one. Yeah, which as you could, as actually that should be another one of my complaints, is how loud the frunks are on these cars. Now, if you have a Model S Plaid or just a Model S in general, you know, it'd be nice to see what you guys see in the comments, if you guys have something similar like that. Ever since I've had the car, it's always opened really loud like that, which, you know, I probably bring it in eventually once I take the wheels off and the lowering links. And then I'll probably have them look into that, because that's always one thing that's bugged me about the car as well. And especially closing it is sometimes a pain. You gotta kind of slam this side. And then, yeah, sometimes that side will latch, and then that side you have to kind of physically go to it. And then, but yeah, that was another thing, was the card. The card's not very useful. And close that up. But yeah, now we should be moving on to number 5 now. The last one, which is going to be a pretty major one in my opinion, which is glitches. And what I mean by glitches is every now and then when the car does get updates, because, you know, the car updates usually overnight is how I have it set. And it's very nice because, you know, usually in the morning when I'll, you know, go drop my son off at school or something, I'll see that they added new things, which is really cool. They even just added a new feature on the steering wheel, which I'll show you guys real quick. That if you, for example, if you hold this button right here, you could custom do different presets and stuff, which I think is really cool, because before I'd have to do it through the screen to raise and lower the car, which was kind of always a pain. It was always a pain in my opinion, because you know, I'd always have to click through the screen real quick if I had to raise the car up, and then, you know, have cars coming behind me, you know, other traffic. But now I can just do it right from the steering wheel, so the car will just raise, because, you know, the car is kind of low. But yeah, so as far as the glitches go, so you see, that's one glitch right there. I got it on camera. Is this charging port, you know, cover. After some update, I never always had this problem until some update. I can't remember which one it was exactly. This charging port, you know, I kind of have to physically close it, and then sometimes it'll just reopen, and sometimes I'll just have to hold it. But you see the light's still green because it thinks it's open still. And then another glitch I was experiencing, which I'm not experiencing anymore, whenever I would get into the car and whenever I put the blinker on, the mirrors would move down, like as if I was backing the car in. Because you could actually set it up to where when you're backing the car into a spot, these mirrors will tilt down, just the lenses, they'll tilt down so you can see if you're gonna curb your wheels or how close the curb is, which I honestly turned off, because when you're backing into spots, you could just look at these cameras on the screen inside. But that was very annoying, because every time I would turn my blinker on, it would move lower and lower and lower. And then when I turn the blinker off, it would stay there. So then, you know, I look in my mirrors, I won't really be able to see. Although I could just use those cameras while I'm driving, but you know, I would like to look through my mirrors as well. And then the other thing, what was the other thing? So there was that, and is the seats. And what I mean by the seats is that is every now and then when I go in the car, the seats won't be calibrated to where I had them calibrated out on my profile. So, you know, it is kind of annoying, because sometimes I'll open the door and then the seat will be real far up. And then there's other times the seat will be real far back. And I'm pretty much the only person that drives the car. Every now and then my girlfriend will drive it. But typically after I experience that issue is when I'm driving. And then also too, like even when I'm leaving the charging stations, it'll do it as well. So like, you know, I'll be sitting there waiting for the car to finish charging. And then when I get out and I get back in the car, and then right when I go to put it on my profile, out of nowhere, the seat will start scooting up real far. So just little things like that. But, you know, but I will say though, is like, I've had other bugs with the car, like where the screen won't work and stuff. And Tesla literally has like an update out immediately to fix it. And, you know, it'll be fixed, you know, really fast. You know, sometimes some updates can be as soon as like 5 minutes, and other updates could be an hour. But as far as like the bug updates, you know, to fix little bugs in the system, those have only been like 5 to 10 minutes. But then like the major updates are, you know, pretty long. You know, you gotta wait about an hour or so. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video of the 5 things I hated about my Tesla Model S Plaid, which I'll say again was the charge time / wait time, the range, the paint quality, the glitches, and then the key card, which, you know, some of them are reaching a little bit as far as the key card, but you know, before I had my app set up and before I actually had this key card, or before I had this card key, that card was kind of finicky sometimes. And, you know, we would kind of have to really slam it on there. And then there was even times I thought maybe it was because this area was dirty and it just wasn't reading because of that. But I would even spray it off, or it would just be clean like this and it still wouldn't work. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed today's video, please like, comment, and subscribe, and look out for my video of the 5 things I love about my Tesla Model S Plaid. And yeah, this is JoJo's Whips, and I'm out.